I followed them into my ears until they came into the bedroom and would hit me. Sitting in the corner playing with dolls.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Psychic Point of View. I'm one of your hosts, Michael Lamport. I'm the producer and the narrator of the psychic series Rescue Mediums, and my co-host is the wonderful Jackie Dennison.
Hi, and as he said, that's who I am. I'm Jackie Dennison. I'm the host of Rescue Mediums and the co-host with Michael on this show. And today we've got the amazing Dr. Robin Miller with us. Now, you are a medical doctor, Robin, I believe, and also a wellness practitioner. Have we got that right?
Yes, I do integrative medicine.
So what is integrated medicine? What does integrated medicine mean?
It means that you look at the whole person, mind, body, and spirit. And you actually take the patient into account. I know that's like amazing.
I know.
You're a partner with the patient.
A lot of physicians don't tend to do that. I know that my physician here in Toronto, she retired this month, Vanna Shirelli. I remember when I first met her a couple of decades ago, the first question she asked me wasn't like, what are you presenting? What are your symptoms? She said, how are you living? What are you eating? And she was very much like that. But she, apart from meeting you now, she's the only integrated type of physician that I've ever met. And there's very few. Because usually you present to a physician and the physician just wants to attack whatever it is you're saying. Like, oh, my back hurts. Oh, okay, let's work on the back. As opposed to, how are you sitting? What are you doing? Why does your back hurt? Are you exercising? All that sort of stuff. Because when I read your bio, it was fascinating to me.
Yeah, you want to get to the root of the problem and help people to heal, because we all can heal ourselves. We just need to know what to do. And we also usually know what's wrong with ourselves. If 99% of the time, patients will tell you what's wrong with them deep down, but you have to listen. And that's the key.
And the mind is a very powerful tool, of course, isn't it? And you said, the patient will say to you, this is what's wrong with me. Well, these are the symptoms you're presenting with, but maybe that's not what's wrong with you. And that's the approach that you have, isn't it? Let's say these are the symptoms. So if I was to say to you, just for example, oh, I'm coming to you because I've got this pain in my shoulder. It's just suddenly appeared from nowhere and it's just there. You would say to me, what would you say to me?
Well, one, I'd want to know what the pain was, what brought it on, how it's characterized.
Right.
There's so many things that can cause shoulder pain, but what I do and what I've done is really spent a long time talking to patients to get their whole history. Because it could be and you tweaked your shoulder, but it could be something more than that.
Yeah.
And so what's funny is when I first started in medicine, I was all about like symptoms and examination. And as I evolved and as I got more into integrative medicine, what really fascinated me were people's social history. What happened? How were you born? How were you raised? What happened? What trauma have you suffered along the way? Everyone's had trauma, right? And really, when I get into that really usually gets to the root of the issues.
And that's something that they don't teach you they don't teach in medical school, right?
No, but there is an integrative medicine fellowship, which is what I did with Andrew Weil at the University of Arizona. And he trains physicians, nurse practitioners, how to do integrative medicine. And there are integrative medicine specialists all over the world now because of his fellowship. And if you want to find someone in Toronto, I would suggest going to his website and look at integrative medicine practitioners. He's got a tab on there.
Yeah, because this is, a healing way through the mind, isn't it? So just going back to the shoulder thing, as you said, that it could just be that it's trauma. Maybe that's being held, that something, maybe something had triggered it off now that took me back to something in childhood that was painful that I sort of carried with me. And because when we're sort of when we're physically, mentally, or emotionally in pain, we sort of hold ourselves tense, don't we? So
Yes.
that could be something, a tension that has been carried from way, way, way back, but we didn't realize where that came from. So I love this approach to being able to, it's spiritual healing. That's how I'm looking at this. It's spiritual healing because it's the spirit within that you're working with, isn't it?
Yes, and it's discovering your own power.
Right.
So sometimes when people have a condition, they feel powerless, but actually you have so much power in your body. And I wrote a book recently about it, and it explains it pretty well. And the book, which I will show you, called Heal Now,
Heal Now.
Time to Unsick Yourself with the 21st Century Guide to Wellness. And I
like that. How to unsick yourself. I love that title.
And it really shows you how you can take your power and heal. So for instance, if someone has a stroke, there's damage to the brain, but you can rewire your brain. And there's various ways to do that.
Oh.
The interesting thing, and I just learned this recently about pain, is that when you have something that causes pain, it's imprinted on your brain. And the brain just processes pain. But you can affect the way your brain processes that to improve your pain. It's sort of like a memory that you can dissolve. Not that whatever it is may continue to give you pain, but usually pain sees that injury either stabilizes or goes away, but you're still left with the pain.
And you're saying you can control it.
Yes.
So you can diminish pain mentally.
Yes. You
so
can.
Is this like a self-hypnosis? Is it like that?
In meditation, but it's like reconditioning your brain.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
And
I always think, to me, the brain is the computer, but a computer is only as good as the input. So the mind is the input to the computer. So that's what you're saying, really. It's how we manage the brain that's how we can control it.
Yes, you can do it with meditation, self-hypnosis, and believe it or not, with your gut.
Oh, really?
Yes, because there's a gut-brain connection that's incredibly strong.
Wow.
So if you're in pain, what do you usually do? You want to soothe yourself, right? So what do you do?
Yeah. You go get a Tylenol or something.
Or
a glass of wine. Yeah, in my case. Yeah.
You eat a cookie. So what you're doing is disrupting the bacteria, the viruses, whatever's in the gut. What you want is a balanced gut, which will improve your brain.
Now, but doctor, I've had my gallbladder removed. So does that affect my gut reaction?
But you don't really need the gallbladder.
No, I know. Yeah, isn't that funny? The gallbladder, I was reading about that before I had it removed, and the gallbladder and the appendix are like, why do we have them?
Well, they do. Well, I don't know about the appendix. Appendix is an immunologic thing. You probably don't. Yeah, you obviously don't need it, but the gallbladder helps with digestion. But once it's gone, you really don't. Other things are fine.
Yeah.
Or
like say, the body works. The body corrects itself more than we realize, I think.
Exactly. Right? Just like if you damage your brain through a stroke, other things take over to improve your brain if you allow that. Our minds, our brains are amazing when you actually look at things. It's incredible. We are incredible beings.
I like that. We are incredible. Yes. That's really a full statement, that, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
I've got something really cool that makes it even more incredible. So there was research done in 1987. This guy, Dr. Grinberg, who did experiments with meditation. And he would take pairs, teach them to meditate, and then he would separate them into two rooms, different rooms that were electromagnetically sound, like there was lead on them. You could not communicate with that person, right?
Yeah.
And then what he'd do is have one person meditate in one room, the other meditating in the other room. Again, there's no way to communicate or send waves, right?
Right.
And then blast one of them with sound and disrupt their meditation. And they had EEG machines on both, so you could see the brain waves.
Okay.
When he did it to one, the other one would show the disruption.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Didn't happen 100% of the time. It happened 25% of the time. He repeated the experiment multiple times and then disappeared. Don't know what happened to him. But two other scientists repeated the experiments and got the same results. So to me, it means there are certain people capable of communicating with others through brainwaves. So think about what would happen if you thought positive thoughts and were able to spread them throughout the world.
Yes, absolutely.
Anyway, sorry.
Oh, do you teach people then positive affirmations and things like that? Do you find that helps with the people that you treat?
Well, it definitely helps. I don't teach that, but definitely helps.
Okay. Yeah, you would suggest that this is something they could try. Yeah.
Yeah, and definitely meditation. I suggest that all the time.
Oh, now, great. I love that.
Do you believe in meditation, just to take it to a level that we've done on this show several times, do you believe that meditation increases psychic energy? Do you believe that that's possible?
I believe it's possible. I do think it also improves your IQ. They've done experiments. They did experiments only on kids who had behavioral issues. And what they found, or they were having mental abilities that were diminished. And they found that they were able to increase their IQ points by 23 points.
Now, would that be because through meditation, you're calming your brain?
Yeah, and you're also allowing it to organize itself and be open to more, I would guess. Not 100% why this all worked, but it does.
Yeah, because you're not feeding the brain, the mind isn't feeding the brain with auto-suggestions. It's allowing the brain just to rest and get on with doing what it should do, which is drive the body, release the good endorphins, and, gets the body to work as it should. Yeah.
I know that you deal with I was amazed at you dealing with horses and everything like that. But the thing I've always thought, I know there's nothing funny about COVID, but the thing that I have thought is funny about COVID is that if you have a dog, they are so happy because you're home all the time.
Right.
I have a cat, and the cat's going, "What the are you doing here? Why don't you go out?" I think that's true. I know. But the horse therapy to me is fascinating because I do ride and not as frequently as I'd like to, but horses are very intuitive.
Oh, they are. And I describe my experience with horses for the first time as healing beings. when I do a television series, and I was doing a news story on a place called Teaching Horse, where they have psychologists with special horses who help people to heal psychologically. So I did a TV piece with them, and I got to do the horse therapy. And so I went, and she first had me groom the horse. So I was brushing the horse, and she goes, "You're going a little fast." She goes, "Maybe you should slow down and be present." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I was. And then she put me in a ring. The psychologist put me in a ring with a very big horse named Rocky. And she said, "Get him to run." What do you mean you want me to get him to run? She goes, "Yeah, get him to run. Horses will pick up on your intent. So if you intend for this horse to run, he will run." So I was hopping up and down this horse to run. And finally, I connected with him, with his eyes, actually. And he started running, and the connection was intense.
Did you feel the connection yourself?
I felt it. I totally felt it. It was like electricity. And then afterwards, I was just so proud of myself that I got to run. She goes, "You know, you did all the work. You did. What does this mean in your life?" And I thought, wow, with my patients, with my family, I do most of the work. So, I mean, I had patients who I couldn't get to exercise. So I would call them in the morning. "Are you ready to go out?" I even went to the extreme of getting, those talking cards that you can record.
Yes.
So I even had one, "Stay away from the refrigerator," that I have to stick on the refrigerator. But guess what? It didn't work.
No.
So she was so right on. And that horse taught me a lot.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't horses? Because I've heard of therapeutic animals like dogs and cats and all that sort of stuff, but I wonder why horses aren't used more. Because I agree with you, they're intelligent.
They should be. And I remember I did another horse therapy thing later on for another story. And I remember hugging the horse and just bursting into tears. And
oh, wow.
She said that happens a lot, that somehow that horse had transmitted to me their understanding of me in a way no one else ever had. And I just fell apart in a good way.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's communication, like with animal communication. Because I have found that I am able to communicate with animals. So I've not tried every animal, so I have no idea. But I've communicated with cats and also with dogs. I am frightened of horses, as Michael knows. They have hooves and teeth, and so I'm very, very wary of them. But that's a past life experience. I'm aware of that. When I communicate with, because they are beautiful animals, and I respect them. I found that you can have this conversation with animals if you keep it simple and you make that heart-centered connection, which is what you're talking about there. Now, I know, because I've watched some of your video work that you've done, where you use horses to help with the therapy of, in one particular instance, women who have gone through breast cancer and have come out of the other side of this. And just tell us a little bit about that, because that to me is fascinating, how that works.
There's a program here called Riding Beyond, and they work with women who've had breast cancer and who've suffered trauma as well. And do the same things that I had, told you I did with that one little piece that I did, where they groom the horse, hug the horse, just be with the horse. And it is healing. Like the horse seems to sense people that need them. It's amazing. And the coolest thing is this woman that runs it started doing meditation circles and letting the horses roam. So they're meditating and the horses are roaming around them. And they will shoot. Horses will come up and nuzzle. They even have a donkey that does it. She's pretty funny.
Yeah, I saw that.
So they'll nuzzle. They'll just be with that person. They sense that somebody needs them.
It's like they know then. It's like they're connecting. In their minds, they're connecting with our minds, the human mind.
Yes.
I think that's fascinating.
I lost my voice last year. I lost it. I don't know, it was a virus or whatever. I lost my voice. And it took a long time for it to come back. And I befriended one of the horses in that series that I did. She's lame. And I thought, maybe I can help her and she can help me. So over the last year, my voice has come back. She's still lame, but she seems better, happier. So we've been helping each other.
That's nice.
I thought you were going to make one of my usual bad puns when you said you lost your voice and the animal came up to you and said, "Oh, you're just a little horse."
I didn't try that one. That's good.
I'm sorry. No, it's not good. I'm so sorry.
That's good.
Oh my gosh, that's worthy of a cheers, Michael, that one.
I like it.
No, did your patients also feel the positive aspect of the horse interaction?
Okay. Well, they weren't my patients. They were, part of this group Riding Beyond.
Okay,
but
sorry.
Definitely feel the positive energy. And in fact, someone told a story about a woman who'd had severe pain post-mastectomy. And the horse totally nudged her there. And then for hours afterwards, the pain was gone.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Awesome.
They're present. They are present.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
They very much are. And they don't, I don't think I know my cat, well, I don't know for sure. I don't believe he worries about the future.
I don't think so.
I think he's just like here and now. And it's like, okay, what's going to happen in the next 5 minutes?
Yes.
Whereas as human beings, we're like, well, if I do this, oh my God, what's going to happen? And then we just we complicate our brains, I think.
We do.
Yeah. Do you think, in your opinion, that we can actually sort of, if we can change our mindset and heal through that change of mindset, does that mean that we can sort of alter our DNA profile, do you think?
Don't know that you can alter well, that's a good question. You might be able to actually through the microbiome, through your gut.
Right.
You turn genes off and other ones on. You could do it that way.
Yes.
And so, when people get cancer, sometimes when they alter their diet, they heal their microbiome, they can reduce the cancer. In fact, there is a story, hate to keep going back to this book, but there's a story in there about the blue zones. Are you guys familiar with the blue zones?
I am not.
No.
Okay. National Geographic sent this man, Dan Buettner, around to try and find places in the world where people lived healthfully into their hundreds.
Yes. Now you said that. Yes.
So he circled the areas in blue. One of the blue zones is Icaria, Greece. So he tells a story about a man who was Greek, who moved to Boynton Beach, Florida. He was in his 60s. He was diagnosed with lung cancer, validated by 7 physicians who said, get your affairs in order. We can give you chemo, but you're not going to live very long. So he decided to take his wife and go to Icaria, Greece, where his parents lived, where he was born, because he figured it'd be cheaper to be buried there. So he goes to Greece with his wife and stayed in this little house with his parents, where he got really good food, where he got fresh air. he started to feel a bit stronger. So friends started to come visit him, felt even stronger. So he started to walk to his church every Sunday, which was up a hill, started roaming around a bit more, ate again healthfully, started working in the vineyard, actually felt so good. He planted more vines, and lo and behold, he got stronger and his cancer was gone.
Wow.
So Dan Buettner asked him later on, he came to visit and said, so did you go back to Florida and talk to those doctors that said you were going to die? And he said, I tried, but they were all dead.
Yeah.
I don't mean to laugh, but that's funny.
Yeah. Oh.
So this
Yes.
man lived to be in his late 90s. By his account, he was 102.
And
So-
all the doctors that misdiagnosed him passed away.
Well, they didn't misdiagnose him. He had cancer.
So he just fixed it.
Yeah.
Somehow he was able to cure himself of the cancer.
Well, there was
Now-
something to be said about the Mediterranean diet, that's for
Yes,
sure. We hear
exactly.
that all the time, don't we?
Yes, Mediterranean diet, good red wine. Apparently the Icarian wine is really good. Actually-
We're all right, Michael. We're okay.
Yes.
We're good.
Well, but Robin, you have a vineyard, do you not?
We do.
And what grapes do you produce?
We produce Malbec, Tempranillo, Grenache, Syrah, and Roussanne, which is the latest one that we have,
I don't know, Rutha.
and Tempranillo.
Oh,
Roussanne is, I wasn't familiar with it either, but it's a white
We
grape.
need to visit you. We definitely
do.
need to visit you.
You do.
We need to sample your wine.
Get the healing effects, right?
Exactly. You know, that's a great story, though, that you were well, not a story, obviously, it's a true story of something that happened. That, you know, this chap who'd gone back to his roots, good food, good wine, but also the company of people, of good people who made him feel good, and he was doing things that made him feel good. And so maybe that took his mind off the cancer and he focused on the positive sides of life that made him heal, that helped him to heal.
that's like a conscious meditation.
Yes.
Right.
He didn't have to meditate like Om. He would just go back to his family and it just happened.
And his exercise was just related to daily living. He wasn't like
Right.
working out at the gym. He was moving. So he was moving, eating a Mediterranean style diet, spiritually healthier, and surrounded by friends and family. Not to say that every cancer will be cured that way. That's not what I want people to take away. But having a healthy microbiome, having a healthy gut is important. And it's good for every conceivable thing you can think of in terms of medical conditions. Good. They've done fecal transplants. Do you know what a fecal transplant is?
I don't, but I am guessing, and I think it's gross.
It's kind of gross, but what they do, they will give people, they'll clean them out like you would get from a colonoscopy, right?
Yeah, I've had that, yes.
They would reintroduce healthy stool from a donor. But when they've done that, they found that you can improve Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and MS, all kinds of different chronic diseases will improve the fecal transplant. Now, it won't stay that way because unfortunately your own body bacteria, whatever, microbiome takes over eventually. But that tells you something.
Well, it gives another meaning to the bad phrase, like, just eat shit.
Exactly. Now, say, well, why don't people just take probiotics and improve their microbiome? But it's really not about that. It's about what you eat.
Yeah.
And as you said, you don't want to eat it. You want to eat it.
Exactly.
Not on a daily basis, anyway.
No, the Mediterranean style diet is the way to go.
Yeah. But as you say, diet's very important, but also you are a strong believer in meditation
I am.
and that we all should spend some time, whether it's when we wake up in the morning or before we go to bed at night or halfway through the day or any time, just meditate. The trouble I have with meditation, I do try, but my brain unravels and I want to focus on like a really nice beach scene and peace and tranquility. But then if I'm in a beach, my mind goes to, remember the movie Jaws? That shark could come right out of the water. And my meditation just goes to rat.
Well, there's so many different kinds of meditation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe focusing on a beach isn't what you need. Maybe just focusing on your breathing is what you need. And then the beach can go by above your head, right? Just let it go.
I see.
And that's sort of mindfulness meditation. And every time you wander, you bring it back to your breath.
Yeah.
It's simple as that. Or you can go online and, there's so many meditation programs that you can use. There's the Calm program. I don't know, they're apps. So different things are going to work for different people.
Yeah.
But you think if you concentrate on your breath, that is a significant beginning.
Yes. And don't try and do too much either. 5 minutes is all you need to begin. And then get into the whole idea. Because, people, they shoot themselves in the foot when they say, I'm going to meditate for half an hour.
Yeah.
They've done it before.
You believe exercise is good as well, don't you? You promote exercise. And I think, was it ballroom dancing?
Oh, love ballroom dancing. Yes.
I do too. I love ballroom and Latin American dancing. Any dancing is, right. I love it. Yeah.
And it's good for your brain. So it's good for preventing Alzheimer's. They did a study years ago where they found that they follow these people over many years, and a lot of them, like 100 and some odd people, got dementia. So they looked at the activities they had done over that time. So people who had been swimming, bicycling, golfing, didn't really affect that. What did was ballroom dancing reduced the risk of Alzheimer's by 76%, or dementia by 76%.
Oh, wow.
So those who were dancing twice a week, ballroom dancing, protected their brains.
Holy God. I have tried ballroom dancing, but I tend to trip over my feet.
That's okay. You don't have to be good for this to work, just so you know. Another interesting thing about preventing Alzheimer's was that they have done a study on nuns and priests. Are you guys familiar with this?
No, I'm familiar with nuns and priests, but not with the story you're about to tell.
All right. So there's the nun study. It is so fascinating. You've got to read about it.
Wow, the nun study. I'm going to make a note of that.
It's in the Midwest in the United States. They've been following these people for years and years and years. And so the nuns do journaling, and the priests as well. When they die, they've donated their bodies to science, so they look at their brains. So they found that a certain percentage of nuns, after they died, had Alzheimer's, because that's the only way you can diagnose it pathologically when someone's dead. And they looked back to see if they were actually demented in life, and they weren't. So they were like, how did this happen? They should have had Alzheimer's behaviorally, but they didn't. So they found that those women, or nuns in particular, had a sense of purpose, were very active, did things like crossword puzzles, and interacted with people quite a bit. And that seemed to protect them from showing what their brains had.
Oh, wow.
So it was like a defense shield?
It was like it never manifested, even though they should have had Alzheimer's. They didn't. They didn't.
And
So
what about
again,
the priests? They were just in
I
denial.
didn't really talk about them. It was mostly the non. They didn't any priest that didn't manifest it.
Oh, of course. Because as men, it's just like, no, I don't have dementia.
So that to me shows once again how powerful we are as individuals if we choose
Yes.
to be, right?
Absolutely.
Have you done any studies into, for example, Native or Aboriginal people, either in North America, because their sense, I believe, from what I've read about health, is that it starts from really inside your body. And sure, you eat different herbs, but it's all about here. It's all about like you control yourself. And I believe that Native people do that.
Oh yeah.
More than we do.
Well, there's two British scientists who went to Tanzania and lived for a little while with the Hutsu. I'm probably destroying the name of this, but the Hutsu tribe in Tanzania, and they ate everything they ate. So they eat some really interesting things like this porcupine-like being. They eat these big roots. They eat different fruits, but all are really rich in vitamins and minerals and healthy protein. So when they actually ate like them, their microbiome changed to be like that tribe who was incredibly healthy and who live a long time and who are very happy. They went back to England, and within a week, they're back to their usual guts.
Oh.
But I think part of that health is the way they eat and their activity levels and their spirituality.
So you would advocate that old expression, we are what we eat.
Absolutely. And Hippocrates said, all disease begins in the gut. And now I get it. I understand. He's totally right. I don't know how he got it, but he did.
That's why people say things like, I got a gut feeling that I'm feeling ill.
Absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
it's gut directly connected to the brain.
Yeah.
So in fact, there's a book called The Second Brain. And it turns out your gut is lined with brain cells that communicate with your brain. Oh, yes.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Most of the serotonin in your body is produced in your gut, which explains why a lot of people get depressed when they eat like crap and their microbiome is off.
Right.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Well, we should all pay more attention to what we imbibe.
Yeah,
except and wine, except for wine. Wine is always okay.
Just in moderation, of course.
Yes.
But, I mean, it's amazing how the gut will affect everything. It really is.
Learn about all of these things in your latest book, Robin?
Yes. It's most of this is in almost all of the things we've discussed are in my book.
Okay. And how can people get a copy of that book?
Amazon would be the place, especially for you guys.
Okay.
You don't have Noble, right? No Barnes and Noble there, but a lot of bookstores have it. But Amazon would be the place to go.
Okay. And if somebody wanted to make an appointment to see you, how do they contact you?
Well, I'm actually not seeing patients in the office, but I do communicate with people by email. So you can find me on email, drmiller@triunemed.com, triunemed.com.
Excellent. And we'll put all of those details at the end of this video so that anybody wanting to make that connection with you, they are able to do so. You are amazing.
You can see my videos on my website too, which is triunemed.com.
Okay.
triunemed.com.
Okay, fantastic. You are such an interesting person to talk to. I really, I feel enlightened by our time with you today. I'm sure you do, Michael, as well.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I just The one bad pun that I've missed because of the horses is, have you ever gone up to a horse and said, "Hey, you look sad. How come the long face?"
There's no stopping him, is there?
I like it. You guys have been so much fun to talk to. It's great.
Thank you so much.
Love it.
And I know it's early there. It's only like 8 or 9 o'clock there.
Yeah, 9 o'clock. It's okay. I'm up early. It's no problem.